Discovery and first contact. The vast expanse of space stretched out before Captain Ilara Voss as she guided her salvage ship, the Starweaver, through the treacherous Zeta Reticuli asteroid field. The ship's worn hull creaked and groaned, a constant reminder of the risks they faced daily in their hunt for valuable tech and resources. Any hits on the scanner? Finn. Ilara called out to her sensor operator, a lanky man with cybernetic implants snaking up his neck. Finn's fingers danced across the holographic display. Nothing yet, Cap. Just the usual space junk. And wait. His eyes widened. I'm picking up something big. Really big. Ilara leaned forward, her heart racing. To find Big Finn. At least 3 kilometers long. It's nestled deep in the field, using the asteroids as camouflage. No wonder we missed it before. The crew of the Starweaver exchanged glances. They were used to finding derelict ships and abandoned stations, but nothing of this magnitude. Structural analysis, Ilara asked, her voice steady despite the excitement building in her chest. Zara, the ship's engineer, piped up from her station. It's unlike anything in our database, Cap. The whole composition is, well, it's not even registering as matter we understand. Whatever this is, it's old. Ancient, even. Ilara took a deep breath. This could be the score of a lifetime, or a deadly trap. All right, Heem. We're going in for a closer look. Ren, plot us a course through the asteroids. Nice and easy. Ren, the pilot, nodded, his prosthetic eye whirring as it calculated the safest path. The Starweaver inched forward, weaving through the field of tumbling rocks and space debris. As they drew closer, the mysterious ship came into view. Its sleek, almost organic lines defied conventional spaceship design. No visible propulsion systems, no weapon ports, just a seamless, iridescent surface that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "It's beautiful," whispered Zora, her voice filled with awe. Ilara couldn't help but agree. Finn, any signs of life or active systems? Negative, Cap. It's cold as space out there. No energy signatures. No. Finn's words were cut short as a pulse of energy suddenly emanated from the alien vessel, washing over the Starweaver in a wave of crackling blue light. Alarms blared throughout the ship as systems flickered and died. Ilara gripped her chair, shouting over the chaos. Report. Zara's fingers flew over her console. Main powers down. Switching to auxiliary. Now. The lights dimmed, then slowly came back to life. Ren wrestled with the controls, stabilizing their position relative to the asteroids. What the hell was that? Ilara demanded. Finn shook his head, bewildered. Some kind of electromagnetic pulse, but like nothing I've ever seen. It was targeted, precise, almost like it was scanning us. Ilara finished, a chill running down her spine. Before anyone could respond, a new alarm sounded. Finn's eyes widened in disbelief. Cap, we're being hailed by the alien ship. The crew fell silent, the only sound the steady hum of the auxiliary power systems. Ilara took a deep breath, steeling herself for whatever came next. Put it through. The main view screen flickered to life, but instead of an alien face or even a text message, they were greeted by a series of complex, flowing symbols. They shifted and changed, almost as if they were alive. Is this some kind of language? Ren asked, his artificial eye struggling to track the movements. Zara leaned in closer, fascinated. I don't think so. It's too complex, too fluid. This might be how their technology communicates. As if in response to Zara's words, the symbols coalesced into a single, pulsing glyph. It expanded, filling the screen with a soft, blue light. And then, to everyone's shock, it spoke. Greetings, explorers. The voice was neither male nor female, neither young nor old. It resonated through the ship, seeming to come from everywhere at once. You have awakened the Sentinel. Prepare for interface. Ilara's hand instinctively moved to the ship's controls. Interface. What do you mean? Who are you? The glyph pulsed with each word. I am the guardian of the Nexus, tasked with maintaining the balance. Your presence has triggered the awakening protocol. The choices you make now will determine the fate of galaxies. The crew exchanged worried glances. This was far beyond a simple salvage operation. Look, Ilara said, trying to keep her voice calm. We're just a salvage crew. We didn't mean to awaken anything. If you want us to leave, we'll go. The glyph's pulsing increased in speed. Impossible. The protocol has begun. You must choose. Become the new Sentinels or face extinction. The universe hangs in the balance. Finn's voice was barely a whisper. Cap, what do we do? Ilara's mind raced. They were in way over their heads, but the thought of simply running away from something this important didn't sit right with her. Humanity had always pushed the boundaries, explored the unknown. Maybe this is why they were here. We need more information, she said finally. What exactly does being a Sentinel entail? And what's this threat you're talking about? The glyph expanded, enveloping the entire bridge in a soft, blue glow. Prepare yourselves. The knowledge of eons is not easily absorbed. Suddenly, Ilara's mind was flooded with images, sensations, and concepts beyond her wildest imagination. She saw vast galactic empires rise and fall, witnessed the birth and death of stars, and felt the cold tendrils of an ancient, implacable enemy reaching out across the cosmos. When the vision faded, she found herself on her knees, gasping for breath. Around her, the rest of the crew was in similar states of shock. Did you all see that? Ren asked, his voice shaky. Zora nodded, her eyes wide. The Voidmakers. They're coming back. Ilara stood on unsteady legs, her decision made. We can't walk away from this. If what we saw is true, the entire galaxy is at risk. She turned to the pulsing glyph on the screen. We accept your offer. We'll become the new Sentinels. The glyph's pulsing slowed, taking on a warmer hue. Your choice is acknowledged, humans. The mantle of the Sentinels passes to you. Prepare yourselves. The great trial begins now. As if on cue, the massive alien ship began to move. Asteroids parted before it like schools of fish avoiding a predator. Its surface shimmered, sections reforming and reshaping themselves. Finn's console lit up like a Christmas tree. Cap, I'm detecting multiple ships entering the system. Lots of them. And they're not human. Ilara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. They had come looking for salvage and instead found a mission to save the galaxy. All right, crew. Looks like we got a lot of work ahead of us. Let's show the universe what humanity can do. As the Starweaver merged with the ancient Sentinel ship, Ilara couldn't help but smile. They had no idea what trials lay ahead, but one thing was certain. The galaxy was about to learn why you don't underestimate humans. The adventure was just beginning. Awakening and revelation. The merger of the Starweaver with the ancient Sentinel ship was unlike anything Ilara and her crew had ever experienced. As the smaller salvage vessel was enveloped by the massive alien craft, they felt a strange sensation, as if their consciousnesses were expanding, reaching out to touch the very fabric of space-time itself. Zara's eyes widened as she looked at her hands, now glowing with a faint blue energy. Captain, I can feel the ship. It's like we're becoming one with it. Ilara nodded, experiencing the same phenomenon. The knowledge imparted by the Sentinel Eye was slowly integrating with her mind, revealing secrets of the universe she had never imagined. Everyone, report. Are you all okay? Finn flexed his fingers, watching as holographic displays appeared and disappeared at his mental command. It's incredible, Cap. I can access sensor data from across the galaxy. The things I'm seeing. Ren, usually the most composed of the group, looked shaken. I can plot courses through dimensions we didn't even know existed. The navigation possibilities are overwhelming. Focus, everyone, Ilara commanded, fighting to maintain her own composure in the face of this cosmic awakening. We need to understand our situation, and fast. Those ships Finn detected are getting closer. As if responding to her thoughts, a massive holographic display materialized in the center of what was once the Starweaver's bridge, now transformed into a command center beyond human technology. It showed the approaching fleet, a motley assortment of vessels from various alien races. The Sentinel Eye's voice resonated through their minds. The news of the Sentinel's awakening spreads quickly. These are representatives from the Galactic Concord, an alliance of spacefaring races. They come seeking answers and power. Ilara straightened her back, squaring her shoulders. Then let's give them something to think about. Can we communicate with them? Indeed, the AI responded. But be warned, Captain Voss. The mantle of the Sentinel grants great power, but it also brings great responsibility. The choices you make now will ripple across the cosmos. With a thought, Ilara opened a channel to the approaching fleet. The holographic display shifted, showing the faces of various alien species, some humanoid, others decidedly not. Their expressions ranged from awe to fear to barely concealed hostility. A reptilian being with iridescent scales spoke first, its voice translated seamlessly by the Sentinel systems. I am High Commander Zaxleth of the Galactic Concord. Identify yourselves and explain how you came to control the Sentinel ship. Ilara took a deep breath. I am Captain Ilara Voss of Earth. My crew and I awakened the Sentinel accidentally during a salvage operation. We've been chosen to be its new guardians. A chorus of disbelief and outrage erupted from the alien representatives. An avian creature with brilliant plumage squawked indignantly. Impossible. Humans are barely out of their stellar cradle. How could they be worthy of such power? Before Ilara could respond, alarms blared throughout the Sentinel ship. Finn's voice was urgent. Cap, we've got a problem. A big one. The holographic display shifted again, showing a massive tear in the fabric of space at the edge of the solar system. From within the swirling vortex, dark shapes began to emerge, ships of impossible geometries that hurt the eye to look upon directly. The Sentinel Eye's voice was grim. The Void Maker's approach. The great trial begins sooner than anticipated. Panic spread through the alien fleet. High Commander Zaxleth's voice shook slightly. It cannot be. The Void Makers were supposed to be millennia from awakening. We are not prepared for this. Ilara felt the weight of the galaxy pressing down on her shoulders. But with it came a surge of determination, that uniquely human spirit that had driven her species to explore the stars despite all odds. Maybe you're not prepared, she said, her voice steady and strong. But we are. The Sentinel chose us for a reason, and we're not about to let the galaxy fall on our watch. She turned to her crew, seeing the same resolve in their eyes. Finn, analyze those Void Maker ships. Find me a weakness. Zara, I need you to sync our weapon systems with the Concord fleet. We're stronger together. Ren, plot us an intercept course. We're taking the fight to them. As her crew sprang into action, their movements now fluid and enhanced by the Sentinel's power, Ilara addressed the stunned alien representatives. You can either stand with us or stand aside. But know this, humanity didn't come this far to watch the galaxy fall. We'll fight to our last breath to protect it. There was a moment of silence, then High Commander Zaxleth nodded slowly. Perhaps we underestimated your species, Captain Voss. The Galactic Concord stands with you. As the Sentinel ship moved to engage the Void Makers, with the Concord fleet falling into formation behind it, Ilara allowed herself a small smile. They were outgunned, outnumbered, and facing an enemy that had haunted the nightmares of advanced civilizations for eons. But they were human, and humans had a knack for beating impossible odds. The Sentinel ship pulsed with energy as it accelerated towards the interdimensional rift. Ilara felt the power thrumming through her veins, the knowledge of countless civilizations at her fingertips. She knew the battle ahead would be unlike anything humanity had ever faced. But as the first Voidmaker ships emerged fully from the rift, their otherworldly forms distorting the very space around them, Ilara's resolve only strengthened. This was humanity's moment to prove itself on the galactic stage. All ships, this is Captain Voss, she broadcast to the combined fleet. Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for every sentient being in the galaxy. We are the line in the sand. We are the sentinels, and we will not fall. The Voidmakers struck first, lancing beams of dark energy that seemed to devour light itself, streaking towards the Allied fleet. But the Sentinel ship was ready. At Ilara's command, it projected a shield of scintillating energy that absorbed the attack, redistributing it harmlessly into subspace. "Finn, what have you got for me?" Ilara called out, her mind simultaneously processing battle data from 100 sources. Finn's eyes glowed with the blue light of the Sentinel's power as he responded. "Their ships exist partially out of phase with our reality, Cap. That's why they're so hard to hit. But I think I've found a way to lock onto them." Transmitting targeting data to the fleet now. Zara's voice chimed in, excitement clear despite the dire situation. "I've managed to synchronize our weapon systems with the Concord ships. We can coordinate our attacks for maximum effect." Ilara nodded, a plan forming in her mind. "All right, listen up. Concord ships, focus your fire on the coordinates Finn is sending you. Ren, bring us in close. We're going to hit them with everything we've got." The battle was joined in earnest. The void of space lit up with the fury of weapons fire from a dozen different species. The Voidmakers fought with terrifying efficiency, their attacks seeming to bend the laws of physics. But the combined fleet, guided by the Sentinel's power and human ingenuity, gave as good as they got. Ilara stood at the center of the maelstrom, directing the battle with a clarity of thought she had never experienced before. The Sentinel's knowledge flowed through her, suggesting strategies and countermeasures faster than she could consciously process them. But it was her human intuition, that ineffable spark that had driven her species to the stars, that made the difference. Where the AI suggested caution, Ilara pushed for bold action. Where ancient tactical doctrines called for retreat, she saw opportunities for decisive strikes. Hours passed in a blur of frenetic activity. Ships on both sides fell to the relentless assault. The Voidmakers pressed their attack, their eldritch vessels seeming to multiply as they poured through the rift. Just as it seemed the tide was turning against them, Ilara had an epiphany. "The rift," she breathed, her eyes wide. "That's the key. Finn, Zara, I need everything we've got directed at the edge of that interdimensional tear. Ren, plot us a course right down its throat." Her crew looked at her in shock, but the trust they had developed over years of working together won out over their disbelief. They moved to obey, the Sentinel ship systems responding to their enhanced commands with lightning speed. "All ships, this is Captain Voss." Ilara broadcast to the fleet. "Fall back and regroup. We're taking the fight to the source." As the Allied fleet retreated, the Sentinel ship surged forward, its weapons blazing. Concentrated fire struck the edges of the rift, the fabric of space-time itself buckling under the assault. The Voidmakers, sensing the danger, turned their full attention to the lone ship charging towards them. Dark energy lashed out, battering the Sentinel's shields. Shields at 30% and falling. Zara reported, her voice tense. "Ren, can you get us closer?" Ilara asked, gritting her teeth as the ship shuddered under another impact. Ren's hands flew over the controls, the ship responding to his touch like a living thing. "I can do it, Cap, but we'll be cutting it close. Very close." Ilara nodded. "Do it, Finn. Prepare to fire everything we've got on my mark." The Sentinel ship dove into the heart of the Voidmaker fleet, weaving through their formations with impossible agility. They were so close to the rift now that reality itself seemed to waver and distort around them. "Now, Finn, fire." The Sentinel ship unleashed its full fury, weapons of unimaginable power lashing out at the very edges of the interdimensional rift. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a silent roar that shook the very foundations of spacetime, the rift began to collapse. "Ren, get us out of here," Ilara shouted as the Voidmaker ships closest to the rift were sucked back into the closing portal. The Sentinel ship spun on its axis, its engines flaring as it raced away from the imploding rift. Behind them, the Voidmaker fleet was in chaos, their connection to their home dimension severed. As they rejoined the Allied fleet, a cheer went up across all channels. The remaining Voidmakers, cut off from their source of power, were quickly mopped up by the combined forces. In the aftermath of the battle, as the adrenaline began to fade, Ilara looked out at the starfield, forever changed by what had transpired here. The Galactic Concord ships approached, their commanders no doubt bursting with questions. But for now, Ilara allowed herself a moment of quiet pride. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged victorious. They had proven themselves worthy of the Sentinel's power and earned their place among the stars. The journey ahead would be long and filled with challenges, but as she looked at her crew, their faces tired but triumphant, Ilara knew that they were ready for whatever the universe had in store. The age of humanity as Sentinels of the galaxy had begun. Alliance and preparation. In the days following the battle against the Voidmakers, the galaxy was abuzz with news of humanity's unexpected ascension to the role of Sentinels. The Starweaver, now fully integrated with the ancient Sentinel ship, had become a symbol of hope and a source of both awe and trepidation for the various species of the Galactic Concord. Captain Ilara Voss stood at the helm of the newly christened Nexus Sentinel, watching as representatives from dozens of alien races arrived for an emergency summit. The massive ship, once hidden in an asteroid field, now orbited Earth, a gleaming beacon visible to all who looked up at the night sky. "How are you holding up, Cap?" Finn asked, joining her at the viewport. His cybernetic implants now pulsed with the same ethereal energy that coursed through the ship. Ilara sighed, running a hand through her hair. "Honestly, I'm overwhelmed. Yesterday we were salvagers, today we're responsible for the safety of the entire galaxy. It's a lot to process." Zara's voice chimed in through the ship's internal communication system. "Well, if it makes you feel any better, the engineering teams from the Concord are losing their minds over our tech. I've had to physically restrain some of the more enthusiastic ones from trying to merge with the ship's systems." A small smile tugged at Ilara's lips. "Leave it to Zara to find humor in the situation. Thanks for the update. Any word from Ren?" "He's still in talks with the Concord's Navigation Guild," Finn reported. "Apparently, our new ability to plot courses through higher dimensions is causing quite a stir." Ilara nodded, her expression turning serious. "We'll need every advantage we can get. The Voidmakers may have been pushed back, but we all saw the visions. This was just the beginning." As if on cue, the Sentinel Eye's voice resonated through the ship. "Captain Voss, the delegates have assembled in the Grand Chamber. Your presence is requested." Taking a deep breath, Ilara straightened her uniform, a new design that melded her old Salvager attire with elements of the Sentinel's technology. "All right, let's do this. Finn, you're with me. Zara, keep an eye on things here and let me know if anything comes up." As Ilara and Finn made their way to the Grand Chamber, the corridors of the Nexus Sentinel hummed with activity. Human crew members worked alongside alien delegates, the ship's adaptive technology allowing seamless communication and cooperation. The doors to the Grand Chamber slid open, revealing a vast, circular room filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The chamber itself was a marvel of Sentinel technology, with holographic displays showing real-time data from across known space and beyond. High Commander Zaxleth of the Galactic Concord stood at the center, his reptilian features set in a grave expression. As Ilara approached, a hush fell over the assembled delegates. "Captain Voss," Zaxleth began, his voice carrying across the chamber. "On behalf of the Galactic Concord, I extend our gratitude for your actions in repelling the Voidmaker incursion. However, we face a grave decision. The threat is far from over, and the galaxy looks to Earth and its newly appointed Sentinels for leadership." Ilara felt the weight of countless eyes upon her. This was it, the moment that would define humanity's place in the galactic community. She stepped forward, her voice clear and resolute. "Distinguished delegates of the Galactic Concord, I stand before you not just as a representative of Earth, but as a guardian of all sentient life in our galaxy. The mantle of the Sentinels has been passed to humanity, and we accept this responsibility with both humility and determination." She paused, looking around the room, making eye contact with various alien species, some familiar, others beyond her wildest imagination. "But we cannot, and will not, stand alone. The Voidmakers threaten all of us equally. Their return was foretold in the ancient knowledge imparted to us by the Sentinel Eye, and the battle we faced was merely a prelude to a greater conflict that looms on the horizon." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. An avian being, its feathers shimmering with bioluminescence, spoke up. "How can we trust the fate of our civilizations to a species that has barely mastered interstellar travel? The power of the Sentinels is beyond your comprehension." Before Ilara could respond, a surprising voice came to her defense. High Commander Zaxleth raised a clawed hand for silence. "I had similar doubts, Counselor, but I witnessed firsthand the ingenuity and courage of these humans. They did what our most advanced civilizations could not. They drove back the Voidmakers and closed the rift." Ilara nodded gratefully to Zaxleth before addressing the chamber again. "We don't claim to have all the answers. The power we've been given is indeed vast, and we're still learning its limits. But that's precisely why we need this alliance. Each of your species brings millennia of knowledge, unique perspectives, and technologies that, combined with the Sentinel's power, give us a fighting chance against the darkness that threatens to engulf us all." She waved her hand, and the holographic display in the center of the chamber sprang to life, showing the galaxy in intricate detail. "The Sentinel Eye has provided us with predictions of future Voidmaker incursions. We don't have the luxury of time for petty squabbles or political maneuvering. We need to act, and we need to act now." The display zoomed in on various sectors, highlighting potential hotspots and strategic locations. "We propose a joint defense initiative. The Nexus Sentinel will serve as a mobile command center, coordinating our efforts across the galaxy. But we'll need outposts, early warning systems, and a combined fleet drawing on the strengths of all our civilizations." As Ilara laid out the plan, she could see the mood in the chamber shifting. Skepticism gave way to cautious hope, then to growing enthusiasm. The delegates began to engage, offering suggestions, pointing out potential challenges, and proposing solutions. For hours, the discussion continued, with Ilara and her crew at the center, facilitated by the vast knowledge and computational power of the Sentinel Eye. Slowly but surely, a comprehensive strategy began to take shape. As the summit drew to a close, High Commander Zaxleth called for a vote. "Those in favor of ratifying the Galactic Defense Accord and recognizing Earth as the seat of the new Sentinels, signify your assent." One by one, holographic signatures appeared above the central display, each representing a member race of the Galactic Concord. When the last signature materialized, a cheer went up through the chamber. Zaxleth turned to Ilara, extending a clawed hand. "Captain Voss, the Galactic Concord formally recognizes Earth and its people as the new Sentinels. May your wisdom guide us in the dark times ahead." As Ilara shook the High Commander's hand, she felt a mix of pride and trepidation. They had won a crucial victory here, but the real work was just beginning. In the weeks that followed, the Nexus Sentinel became a hub of feverish activity. Alien scientists and engineers worked alongside their human counterparts, integrating technologies and strategies from across the galaxy. Zera oversaw the development of new hybrid defense systems, combining the Sentinel's advanced shielding with the most powerful weapons the Concord races had to offer. Finn coordinated the establishment of a galaxy-wide early warning network, his enhanced senses allowing him to process vast amounts of data from thousands of sensor outposts. Ren worked with the greatest navigators in the galaxy, mapping out emergency hyperspace routes and hidden sanctuaries, where civilian populations could be evacuated in case of Voidmaker attacks. And through it all, Ilara stood at the center, guiding, deciding, and inspiring. The power of the Sentinels had awakened something in her, a leader capable of uniting diverse species toward a common goal. But even as progress was made, troubling reports began to filter in from the outer reaches of known space. Strange anomalies, unexplained disappearances of entire outposts, and unsettling gravitational disturbances that defied the laws of physics as they understood them. The Voidmakers were coming, and they were coming in force. As Ilara stood on the bridge of the Nexus Sentinel, watching the combined fleet of the Galactic Concord assemble for their first joint training exercise, she couldn't help but feel a sense of bitter irony. Humanity had always dreamed of reaching the stars, of finding its place in the grand cosmic tapestry. They had achieved that dream, but at a cost they were only beginning to understand. The fate of not just Earth, but countless worlds across the galaxy now rested on their shoulders. As the first waves of Voidmaker scouts began to appear at the edges of charted space, Ilara knew that the true test of humanity's worth as Sentinels was about to begin. With a thought, she opened a channel to the entire fleet. "This is Captain Ilara Voss of the Nexus Sentinel to all ships. The enemy approaches, but we are ready. We stand united, not just as separate species, but as guardians of all life in this galaxy. Remember your training, watch out for each other, and no matter what horrors we face, know this: we will not falter, we will not fail. For Earth, for the Concord, for every sentient being that calls this galaxy home, we fight." As the fleet moved into formation, the Nexus Sentinel at its head, Ilara allowed herself one last moment of reflection. They had come so far in such a short time, from salvagers to saviors. Whatever lay ahead, she knew that humanity had finally found its true calling among the stars. The battle for the galaxy's future was about to begin, and humanity was ready to prove, once and for all, why they had been chosen as the new Sentinels. Battle and sacrifice. The vast emptiness of space erupted into chaos as the combined fleet of the Galactic Concord engaged the first wave of the Voidmaker invasion. The Nexus Sentinel, under Captain Ilara Voss's command, led the charge, its advanced weaponry tearing through the fabric of reality to strike at the otherworldly vessels. Multiple rifts detected in sectors 7 through 12. Finn's voice rang out over the din of battle. His cybernetically enhanced senses were working overtime, processing data from thousands of sources simultaneously. "They're trying to flank us, Cap." Ilara's mind raced, the Sentinel eye augmenting her thought processes to inhuman levels. She could see the battle unfolding like a cosmic chess game, each move and countermove rippling across the stars. "Zara, redirect power to the dimensional stabilizers," she commanded. "We need to close those rifts before they can bring in reinforcements. Ren, plot an intercept course for the largest concentration of enemy ships." As the Nexus Sentinel maneuvered through the battlefield, Ilara opened a channel to the entire fleet. "All ships, this is Captain Voss. Form up on our position. We're going to punch a hole right through their center." The response was immediate. Ships from a dozen different species, each with their own unique designs and capabilities, fell into formation behind the Nexus Sentinel. It was a sight that would have been unthinkable just months ago. The galaxy united against a common threat, with humanity leading the charge. High Commander Zaxleth's voice crackled over the comms. "Captain Voss, my battle cruisers are in position. We stand ready to support your assault." "Acknowledged, Commander," Ilara replied. "All ships on my mark." Mark. The combined fleet surged forward, their weapons blazing. The Voidmakers responded with eldritch energies that warped the very fabric of spacetime. Stars seemed to bend and twist as the two forces clashed, the laws of physics straining under the onslaught. Aboard the Nexus Sentinel, Ilara and her crew worked in perfect synchronization, their minds linked through the ship's advanced systems. Zara's fingers danced across holographic interfaces, redirecting power and repairing damage almost faster than it could occur. Finn's enhanced senses allowed him to predict enemy movements seconds before they happened, giving their allies a crucial edge. Ren's piloting skills, augmented by the Sentinel's technology, were nothing short of miraculous. The massive ship moved with the agility of a fighter, weaving through the chaos of battle while unleashing devastating attacks. But despite their advantages, the tide of battle ebbed and flowed. For every Voidmaker ship they destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. The rifts in space continued to widen, disgorging ever more terrifying abominations. Captain, the Sentinel Eye's voice resonated in Ilara's mind. I've detected a pattern in the Voidmaker's assault. They appear to be concentrating their efforts on a specific set of coordinates. Ilara's blood ran cold as the realization hit her. They're not just invading. They're terraforming. They're trying to transform this sector of space into something they can inhabit permanently. The implications were staggering. If the Voidmakers succeeded, it would mean the end of not just individual worlds, but entire regions of the galaxy. All ships, new priority target, Ilara broadcast. We need to take out their terraforming engines. Finn, scan for any unusual energy signatures. That's got to be how they're doing this. As the battle raged on, casualties mounted on both sides. Ilara watched with a heavy heart as allied ships, each representing hundreds of lives from across the galaxy, winked out of existence. But for every loss, the remaining forces seemed to fight with even greater determination. Cap. I've got it, Finn shouted. Massive energy spike at these coordinates. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. The holographic display zoomed in on a truly monstrous Voidmaker construct. It defied description, its geometry seeming to shift and change even as they watched. Tendrils of dark energy pulsed from its core, warping the space around it. That's it, Ilara breathed. That's what we need to destroy. But how? She trailed off as the Sentinel AI provided the answer. An answer that made her heart sink. The only way to generate enough power to destroy the terraforming engine would be to overload the Nexus Sentinel's core, channeling the energy of a dying star through its systems. It would mean certain death for whoever stayed behind to pilot the ship. For a moment, the weight of the decision threatened to overwhelm her. But then Ilara remembered why they were fighting, why humanity had been chosen as the new Sentinels. It wasn't just about power or technology. It was about the indomitable human spirit, the willingness to sacrifice everything for a greater cause. Finn, Zara, Ren, she said, her voice steady. I need you to evacuate the ship, get to the escape pods and coordinate the final assault from High Commander Zaxleth's vessel. Her crew looked at her in shock, realization dawning on their faces. Cap? No, Zara protested. There has to be another way. Let me stay, I can rig the engines. Ilara cut her off with a sad smile. That's an order, Zara. All of you. It's been an honor serving with you. Now go, make sure this sacrifice means something. Tears in their eyes, her loyal crew reluctantly obeyed, each embracing her one last time before heading for the escape pods. As the last pod ejected, Ilara turned her full attention to the task at hand. Sentinel, she addressed the AI. Initiate core overload sequence. Divert all power to the main cannon. As the ship's systems began to whine in protest, pushing far beyond their designed limits, Ilara opened a final communication channel. This is Captain Ilara Voss of the Nexus Sentinel to all allied ships. We've identified the Voidmaker's terraforming engine. I'm going to take it out, but the blast radius will be significant. All ships fall back to minimum safe distance. She paused, knowing these would be her last words. It's been an honor fighting alongside all of you. Remember this day not as a victory for humanity, but as a testament to what we can achieve when we stand united. The galaxy is in your hands now. Make it count. With that, Ilara closed the channel and set course for the heart of the Voidmaker fleet. The Nexus Sentinel, once a salvage ship, now the hope of the galaxy, accelerated to speeds that threatened to tear it apart. Voidmaker ships swarmed around her, sensing the threat, but it was too late. The Nexus Sentinel plunged into the heart of the terraforming engine, its overloading core unleashing the power of a dying star. For a moment, it seemed as if time itself stood still. Then, in a blinding flash that outshone the stars themselves, the Nexus Sentinel exploded. The blast rippled through space-time, closing rifts and vaporizing Voidmaker ships by the hundreds. When the light faded and the surviving ships could finally assess the damage, they found that the heart of the Voidmaker fleet had been obliterated. The terraforming engine was gone, and with it, the imminent threat to the galaxy. Aboard High Commander Zaxleth's ship, Finn, Zara, and Ren watched in stunned silence. Their captain, their friend, was gone, but her sacrifice had turned the tide of the battle. As the remaining Voidmaker ships retreated in disarray, a message began to spread through the Allied fleet. It started as a whisper, then grew to a resounding chorus across every communication channel. For Captain Voss. For Earth. For the galaxy. The battle was won, but the war was far from over. Yet in that moment, as ships from every corner of the galaxy united in mourning and triumph, it was clear that something had changed. Humanity had proven itself not just as capable wielders of the Sentinel's power, but as true guardians of the galaxy. As the fleet regrouped and began the long process of rebuilding, the legend of Captain Ilara Voss and the crew of the Nexus Sentinel began to spread. Their story would be told and retold across countless worlds, inspiring future generations to look to the stars not with fear, but with hope and determination. The age of humanity as sentinels had been baptized in fire and sacrifice, but it had emerged stronger than ever. The galaxy would never be the same, and the Voidmakers would think twice before threatening it again. For in the end, it wasn't advanced technology or cosmic power that had saved them all. It was the very thing that had led humanity to the stars in the first place, the unwavering courage to face the unknown, and the willingness to give everything for a cause greater than themselves. Triumph and New Horizons, the galactic date was officially changed to 1 year after sacrifice. Captain Ilara Voss's final act had become a pivotal moment in history, marking the beginning of a new era for all sentient species in the Milky Way. On Earth, a gleaming spire of impossible geometry stretched from the ground to low orbit, the Voss Memorial. It served as both a tribute to the fallen hero and as the new headquarters for humanity's role as sentinels of the galaxy. At its base, a simple plaque read, "For Captain Ilara Voss, who showed us that the greatest power lies not in technology, but in the spirit of sacrifice and unity." Inside the memorial's central chamber, Finn, Zara, and Ren stood before a gathering of diplomats from across the galactic concord. Though they still felt the ache of loss, their postures were straight, their eyes forward. They had a duty to fulfill, a legacy to uphold. High Commander Zaxleth, his scales shimmering with bioluminescent patterns of respect, addressed the assembly. 1 year ago, we faced extinction. Today, we stand united, stronger than ever before. The Voidmakers have been driven back to the dark dimensions from whence they came, but we must remain vigilant. That is why today we formalize the Sentinel Initiative. A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing the Milky Way galaxy. Points of light began to appear, spreading across its spiral arms. Zara stepped forward, her voice steady as she explained. These are the new Sentinel outposts. Combining the ancient technology we inherited with the unique innovations of every species in the Concord, these stations will serve as our first line of defense against any future incursions. Finn continued, his cybernetic implants pulsing softly as he interfaced with the display. We've also established the Galactic Early Warning Network. It's designed to detect any anomalies that might indicate Voidmaker activity, giving us precious time to respond. Ren, his artificial eye whirring as it took in the assembled diplomats, added, and with the new hyperlane network we've mapped, our response times have been cut by 60%. We can deploy the Sentinel fleet to any point in the galaxy in a matter of hours, not days. The gathered representatives nodded approvingly, but a Quatari delegate, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, spoke up. Impressive indeed, but what of the power vacuum left by the destruction of the Nexus Sentinel? Surely no single ship can replace it. Finn, Zara, and Ren exchanged glances. It was time to reveal their biggest project, the one they'd been working on in secret for months. "You're right," Finn said, a small smile playing on his lips. "No single ship can replace the Nexus Sentinel. That's why we've created something new." With a gesture, the holographic display shifted, revealing a massive space station unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. It was a perfect blend of organic and mechanical design, with sections that seemed to phase in and out of normal space-time. "Ambassadors, honored representatives," Zara announced, "I present to you the Nexus Hub. It's not just a station. It's a living extension of the Sentinel network, capable of coordinating our entire defense strategy across the galaxy." The chamber erupted in murmurs of awe and excitement. Ren raised his hand for silence before continuing. "But the Nexus Hub is more than just a defensive tool. It's also the most advanced research facility ever created. Here, scientists from every species can work together, pushing the boundaries of our understanding of the universe." High Commander Zaxlet's eyes widened in realization. "You mean to turn our defensive pact into something more? A true galactic civilization?" Finn nodded solemnly. "Captain Voss gave her life, not just to save us, but to unite us. We believe this is the best way to honor her sacrifice." As the implications sank in, a wave of enthusiasm swept through the chamber. Species that had been bitter rivals for millennia now saw a future of cooperation and shared discovery stretching out before them. But even as the mood in the chamber soared, Finn, Zara, and Ren knew their work was far from over. They exchanged knowing glances, silently acknowledging the weight of responsibility they still carried. Later that evening, as the celebrations wound down, the three found themselves in a quiet corner of the memorial, looking out at the stars. "Do you think she'd be proud of us?" Zara asked softly, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Ren placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "I think she'd say we're just getting started." Finn nodded, his gaze fixed on the distant points of light. "You know, when we were just salvagers, I used to look at the stars and wonder what was out there. Now we're the ones out there," Zora finished for him. As if in response to their words, a shimmering curtain of energy rippled across the sky, the activation of the planetary defense shield, one of many new systems put in place to protect Earth and other core worlds. "It's not going to be easy," Ren mused. "We've pushed back the Voidmakers, but they're still out there. And who knows what other threats might be lurking in the dark between the stars." Finn's expression hardened with determination. "Then we'll face them together. All of us. That's what Ilara taught us, isn't it? That we're stronger united than we ever were apart." Zara straightened up, squaring her shoulders. "You're right. We've got a whole galaxy depending on us now. We can't let them down." As they stood there, three humans gazing out at the vast expanse of space, they felt a mixture of awe, responsibility, and hope. The mantle of the Sentinels was theirs now, passed down from their captain, their friend. In the years that followed, humanity continued to surprise and impress their galactic neighbors. Their adaptability, creativity, and indomitable spirit proved to be assets just as valuable as the advanced technology they now wielded. The Nexus Hub became a beacon of progress and cooperation, spawning breakthrough after breakthrough. Diseases that had plagued species for eons were cured. The secrets of dark matter and dark energy began to unravel. And slowly but surely, the scars left by the Voidmaker invasion began to heal. But perhaps the greatest change was in how the various species of the galaxy viewed each other. Old prejudices and conflicts faded in the face of their shared experiences and goals. A new galactic culture began to emerge, one that celebrated diversity while recognizing their fundamental interconnectedness. And through it all, the legend of Captain Ilara Voss and the crew of the original Nexus Sentinel lived on. Their story was taught in schools across 1,000 worlds, a shining example of courage, sacrifice, and the power of unity in the face of overwhelming odds. As for Finn, Zara, and Ren, they continued to serve as humanity's representatives to the galaxy at large. But they never forgot where they came from or the friend who had shown them the way. On quiet nights, when the weight of their responsibilities seemed almost too much to bear, they would meet at the top of the Voss Memorial. There, looking out at the stars that were now their home as much as Earth was, they would remember. And in remembering, they would find the strength to face whatever challenges the universe had in store. For they were the inheritors of a proud legacy, the guardians of a brighter future. They were human, they were sentinels, and they were ready for anything the cosmos might throw their way. As dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Finn, Zara, and Ren shared a silent nod. Another day was beginning. Another opportunity to explore, to learn, to protect. The stars were calling, and humanity, in all its newfound glory and responsibility, was ready to answer.